Hey everybody, John Smale here. We're continuing on our series of SmalesPace. I'm a designer in Belleville, Ontario now, but many years ago, many years ago, I owned a coffee house in London, Ontario called SmalesPace. That was then and this is now, and today's episode is about the equipment, about creating the magic, the stuff that turns a room into a listening room or a coffee house in this case. And that's things like the piano, the stage, the sound system, etc. So let's just start with the stage. It was a carpentry job my brothers and I did, and it was a nice stage. We filled it with insulation and all Chinese telephone books and whatever we could find to deaden the sound, and that stage morphed a bit over the years. We added on to it. Stan Rogers' father came and did a whole block, cinder block front on it, and made it much stronger for acoustic reasons. On top of the stage was a piano. Now, pianos are large, they're expensive, but in this case, I put an ad in the paper in the London Free Press. Now, nowadays we've got Marketplace on Facebook, for example, and we have Kijiji Shopping Village, and there's all kinds of ways to find things, used things. Back in the 70s, you were typically using the newspaper, the classified ads. I put an ad in saying, anybody have a piano they want to get rid of? Well, there was a church down the street that just had such a thing. So I brought a piano player with me. I'm no expert on pianos, and said, this is a good piano. And so I made a donation to the church. I think it was $50, which was $50 in those days, and they were trying to get rid of the piano. So getting it there, moving it there on stage, and many people over the years made that piano sing and play its own magic, whether it was Murray McLaughlin locking himself in all night and learning how to play piano, many other people. The next thing was the sound system. Now, sound systems are typically expensive, and we couldn't afford one at first, so there was a music store in town called John Ballone's Music, and it was over on Wellington Street above Dundas, above the main street. And I'd go over and say, John, can I rent a 4-channel mixer and speakers? And this went on every week, of course. Rent it Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and return it Monday morning, and then pick it up again on Thursday. And John saw this trend happening, and he started giving me pretty good deals on the rental. And he said, well, if I need it, I'll give you a call, and you can bring it in, or we'll come pick it up. So I'm eternally grateful to John. He eventually moved his store down to York Street, I believe, or King in Wellington, and I went on to buy that sound system, which was later replaced by Paul Mills and the I can't remember the name of the brothers who built a sound system. More on that later, because that's a story in itself. The turntable and the music system I played albums of upcoming musicians and new releases of Canadian music. I was very pro-Canadian in my choices of what to play on the general sound system, and I was very much into promoting our own style of music, singer-songwriters. So the turntable and the record collection became very important parts, and I would hit up record companies, of course, for complimentary copies, and Sam the Record Man were very kind that way too, and there's a story in that, I'll tell you. Sam the Record Man was a very integral part of the SmalesPace years and the people that worked at that store. I owned a tape recorder, a reel-to-reel tape recorder, which was better at playback than it was at recording. It wasn't a professional, even though it was a Tascam recorder. I tried recording acts, but the tape was expensive, and as I say, we didn't have the proper mixing board to get the levels correct, and the bass and treble response and mid ranges and all that. So recording wasn't really, I suppose, legal either. You'd have to just have it for personal use. I talked before in another episode about a movie projector. Because in the early days we had a very small budget, I would go to the library and rent, at a very small fee, a projector, and the movies were basically free on my library card. And we played all kinds of movies, whether they were old comedies or Canadian Film Board movies. It was really interesting, and so SmalesPace was not just a music venue. We showed some interesting, as I say, Canadian Film Board, and I'm still very supportive of that. Finally, what turns an average room into a listening room is the lighting and lighting effects, and setting the drama, highlighting the stage and the musicians, having the ability to dim and change colors, etc. This is hilarious because it's one of the places that didn't burn down. I am not a trained electrician. I want to be perfectly honest about that and forthright. I was wiring with lamp cord running up the wall, hidden, across the ceiling, hidden, over to where it would project on the stage. And what these beautiful light fixtures were tin cans. You know, the big cans ketchup would typically come in, or large cans of tomatoes, things like that. Then I would drill a hole in the back and put in a porcelain socket and tighten all that in and join up the wires, and then I'd run it to a hub and supposedly different circuits, and I would have rheostatic dimmers, domestic style, the kind that you used to buy for about $10. And so when a musician finished a song, I'd dim the lights down and change to another color. Highly illegal, probably very unsafe, but very effective. Everybody seemed to like the lighting effects at SmalesPace. Another chuckle is when I told this story to someone from Perth County Conspiracy, they said, that's what happened to us. We did exactly the same kind of lighting at the Black Swan, and when they did their concert, their big concert at Massey Hall, they brought their lights, and you can imagine what the stage crew had to say about that, and the union groups, you can't use those lights in here, this is Massey Hall, that kind of thing. So those were some of the items that made SmalesPace a special place. It was handmade, it was homemade, just like the music. Thanks for tuning in this week. If you like this video and the other ones, please do subscribe, and we'll be back with more episodes likely tomorrow. Bye-bye.